Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 79 of The Clutch Dump. I'm Nicholas Patty, joined by Ben Walther. We have a very in-depth automotive episode, but not necessarily about new cars, new releases, although there are some. We're going to be reviewing and recapping some of the interesting results from Mecum Dallas that I was at last week. And we're going to be talking about some things that happened at Rennsport that are very hot and very fast. And much more. So before we get into it, make sure to follow us right here on YouTube at the Clutch Dump Pod. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, and then subscribe and follow on your podcasting platform, whatever your favorite is, whether it's Spotify, Pandora, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, something else. I don't know. We're probably there, so go check us out. And then last but not least, follow us on Instagram at The Clutch Dump and follow me on Twitter at NicholasPatty21 if you just want memes. Ben, how are you? Welcome. Good.
I'm doing swell. Yeah, so far so good.
For the people. Show the people your shirt, Ben, because
yes.
This is from before the podcast. You wouldn't understand.
It's a Jeep thing. Maybe you'll understand. I don't know.
Man, the Christmas light manual straight piped Jeep.
Maybe. Oh, I forgot about the Christmas lights. That was a good time.
We miss it. It
was a good time.
Everybody type L in the chat for Ben's Jeep that y'all are too young to have understood.
It was a different time. Mr. Patty, yes. I think before we get into the general automotive news that we have, I think we're going to start with Mecum. Because if we talk about the thing that happened at Rennsport yesterday, I think we'll talk for too long, and we'll never talk about Mecum. So we'll start there. You were at Mecum. Explain for the people.
So for those of y'all that somehow don't know, I work at Radford Racing School, and I have for the last 2 months. My daily is currently a Hellcat, and I'm loving it.
It's pretty spicy.
I'm also getting 17.6 mpg.
That's impressive. That's really good. Oh, that's an 8-speed car, right? It's not a stick?
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
Still. So
impressive. For an 800 horsepower, 4,400 pound car. That's impressive.
4,400. It's 46.
Oh, are they that heavy?
Yeah. Although mine is a rear seat delete, so it might be lighter.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you had the Superleggera spec of a Hellcat. My bad.
Hellcat jailbreak Superleggera. That's actually funny as hell. All right. So anyway, I was at the auctions working the Radford booth with Dodge, which was super cool. We had a Durango Hellcat in our booth, liveried in a Radford livery, which was
big fan.
Fresh. It was
big fan.
It was so good. Anyway, and so obviously I'm a car guy. If you don't know. Ben's a car guy, if you don't know. And so
supposedly.
The entire auction, I was texting him interesting cars that you would have had to spend hours in the auction catalog of consignments to find that were cool or quirky. There was a Carrera GT there. I'm just kidding. It was a Boxster. But there were some cars that I haven't seen in person, or I haven't seen in that particular spec in person. Like, for instance, if I had seen it, I would know that I had seen it. A 69 440 Roadrunner, numbers matching with a 4-speed.
Pretty
I
bad.
had one in the past, but you wouldn't know it's numbers matching. You wouldn't know it's you don't know those things unless you're kind of in that auction.
Right.
You talk to the owner. So, that was cool. But then there were crazy things, like a McLaren Speedtail. There was a singular collection that was a GTRT spec, 2 4GTs, a Viper ACR, GT2 RS, and the special, Ben, you'll have to correct me on the special edition name, but whatever Frozenberry Metallic Special Edition GT500 they made 2 years ago or whatever. The Frozenberry Metallic color, they only made it on the Special Edition GT500 as like the last edition of the GT500.
Oh, that. Let me find it real quick.
There actually at the auction.
It's in here. I'm looking for it. I'll find it. Keep talking. I'll put up the name for the people.
So we were at the auction, and if you listened a couple episodes ago, maybe 5 or 6 episodes ago, Ben and I did a prediction, and we also did a 2-car garage. We did a 2-car garage of any car, I believe any car, any price, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, any car, any price out of the Mecum auction that we wanted. And I chose 2 challengers. I think I chose the Black Ghost and the
You chose a black
Swinger.
you chose a Black Ghost, and then you chose the Swinger that was Sublime Green with the brass monkey wheels on it.
Yes. So those are mine too. Ben, what did you pick?
I picked an '09 Viper ACR, black with red stripes, and then I picked a 2014 Ford Shelby Super Snake Signature Edition wide body. I just searched by the longest name. Real quick, before we get into this, you mentioned Carrera GT, and I found something yesterday while I was scrolling Craigslist in Phoenix, Arizona, for no reason at all.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me there's a Carrera GT listed on Craigslist.
There's not.
Oh, thank God.
There's 3.
Huh?
There is a Craigslist listing in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'll put up pictures here for the people. Porsche 3 Carrera GTs. Rennsport sale. Yep, 3 Porsche Carrera GTs, a 780-mile GT Silver, 2,700-mile Seal Gray with Ascot interior, 5,000-mile GT Silver with terracotta interior.
How much? Not like it matters, but how much?
$2 million for the GT Silver, 1.8 for the Seal Gray, 1.5 for the 5,000-mile GT Silver.
Which is funny. I think Seal Gray is the one to take over the GT Silvers.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So by the way, the picture is hilarious because it's a hangar and there's 3 Carrera GTs and a helicopter.
Because the person that has 3 Carrera GTs has a hangar.
Oh, and by the way, there's some other things: 97 993 turbo, red over black, 8,000 miles, 85 928S, one owner, original paint.
Okay. I don't need to hear. Ben, there's going to be enough Porsche.
I'm sorry. It's just I had to say that for the people. It's the weirdest Craigslist listing I've ever seen. Is $7 million worth of Porsches. Anyway.
Yeah.
So of those 4 cars that we picked, the Shelby Super Snake that I picked sold for $135. The ACR sold for $150. That was a very low mileage car. The Challenger Swinger that you picked did not sell. Bid goes on at $70,000. But the Black Ghost you picked did sell at $160,000.
Which, I'm not gonna lie, is lower than I thought it was going to.
It's lower than I expected it to go to, but it's far more money than it's worth.
Oh, 1,000%. I'm essentially driving the Black Ghost.
So for those of you that don't know, of the last call Challengers and Chargers that they did, the only one that I think is actually worth buying is the Demon 170, the new one. The rest of them, here's the thing though, the rest of them are cool, but the rest of them are strictly appearance packages.
Yes.
That's it.
I'll take the King Daytona, please.
The King Daytona looks really rad, and there was 2 of them in this auction, both of them 2023s, obviously. One of them with 19 miles, one of them with 95 miles.
So you want to know something crazy?
Yes.
I met the owner at the booth, because if you bought any of those cars, you get a free day at Radford.
Yes.
This guy owned the Black Ghost, both King Daytonas, both the Swingers that were there, and 2 Demons. And he was selling all of them at that auction.
All right. Cool.
And I was just sitting there and I'm like, I hate you. You buy up all these cars when they're brand new, and then you sell them and make them exorbitantly expensive for the rest of us. Thanks.
So sorry. Correction here. Looking at the website on Mecum, the Black Ghost sold for $176. Correction, not $160. One of the King Daytonas did not sell. Bid to $160. The other King Daytona did sell at $159,500. But overall, the last call Mopars did not sell super well.
No, they didn't.
Most of them didn't sell. So the Black Ghost sold. That one King Daytona sold. A Demon sold, but Demons will always sell. There was another Demon that sold. Both of those in the 150s. Super Stock didn't sell. Jailbreak. Oh, what color is your Jailbreak's red? I say your Jailbreak. Red. The Jailbreak you're driving is red.
Yes.
Okay.
What are you talking about? My Jailbreak for 15.
Sorry, Nick's new car.
Hey, here's the thing though. What I have 120 miles to go.
Okay.
And then I have 1,200 miles of. You have to use the entire RPM range.
Oh no!
Uh-oh.
All 6,000 of them.
On French Pirellis.
Uh-oh. So there was a jailbreak in blue that sold for 110. A jailbreak that didn't sell at 110.
There was a jailbreak in orange, and that was the one in the Dodge booth.
So the jailbreak in orange did sell 106.
Ooh, that's low.
Let's see here. Swinger didn't sell 70. Another Swinger didn't sell 65. Hellcat Widebody didn't sell 65. Another Swinger didn't sell 62. Another Swinger didn't sell 60.
Not a good day if you're a Dodge owner.
Normal Charger RT. Normal Charger RT Daytona.
The Sublime Green one.
The Sublime Green one, the last call edition. 15 miles, didn't sell. Bid to 48 grand.
I wanted that.
It's actually not a bad looking car.
No,
I think that was all. It's a good color. I think that was all of the last call editions. But yeah, of the like 15 that were in the auction, 4 of them sold. So unfortunate. But I was watching the live stream when I could.
I still haven't found the TV spot in the first day. I haven't, because I haven't sat down and watched all 6 hours. But somewhere on day one, I'm on TV.
Well, I was going to go back and look for it because I have the text that you sent me that said, hey, I was just on TV. Yeah. And I know when the live stream started, so I can use that roughly as a timestamp and give myself like a 30-minute front-to-back window.
Oh, that'd be great.
In there. So I might try to find that. I don't know if it'll be in this episode, but I might find it. It might be YouTube short. But there were some other things that I just saw on the live stream that I noted that were interesting. A Lemon Twist 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner 383 4-speed car sold for 65 grand. I think that's a heck of a buy. As someone who works in the Mopar industry, Mopar community.
Yeah.
B bodies are hot. They will always be expensive. Roadrunners usually don't get as much love as Chargers for some reason, which I don't get. I personally think
Roadrunners look better. If that's what
I think Roadrunners look better. The only thing
until you get to a Daytona.
Until you get to a Daytona, and I'm slightly partial towards 68 Chargers. I do like the taillights, but 90% of the time, Roadrunner's better. Lemon Twist car, 383, 4-speed, beautiful car, 65 grand, beautiful buy. Something that I actually think is a heck of a deal. Granted, normally this is too much money for one of these, but 2003 Nissan 350Z VIN 001.
Which, by the way, a lot of these cars we talk about, there will be photos on Instagram, so make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Clutch Dump. Photos from this auction, including the first ever 350Z ever made, will be up there.
So, VIN number 1, 234 miles, sold for 48 grand.
That's cheap.
Here's the thing, 48 grand for a 350Z is stupid money. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. If you get like a 350Z Nismo with like delivery miles on it, you're probably spending 30 or 35 on it.
I was going to say,
that's cheaper than a new Z.
You can buy a low mileage mint condition Z for about half.
Yeah.
But you could get the first one ever made with delivery miles.
So here's the thing about this car, though. Here's what I think is cool about this. So this car's probably never going to go up in value. It could, but if so,
kill at some point when they end the Z or kill it or whatever.
Right, but it'll never be a 6-figure car. I'd highly doubt. If it's a 6-figure car, it's like $105,000.
Yeah, well, in a world and
you gotta wait like 15 years to do that.
Yeah.
So like, I would absolutely take this thing and go to like. In California, every year there's I can't remember what it's called. It's called like Z Fest or something. I'd take it to that. I'd probably put like 1,000 miles on it, and then just 48 grand.
Speaking of
maybe you make some money on it.
I'm going to Radwood here in a week and a half because we're hosting it.
Oh, that's cool.
And Chris Jacobs is coming out to Radwood, and we're creating some content with him. So
that's pretty cool.
I'm really hoping, because we haven't filled up registration, that I can get my Bronco and then enter it.
That'd be cool. That'd be sick.
Just dress as OJ. I'm kidding. I would never do that.
1970 GTO.
That's when you just fade in an edit of Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder over me, and then it slowly goes away. Oh shit.
There was a 1970 GTO Ram Air that Nick sent me pictures of. Black car, beautiful car. Sold for 77 grand.
Gorgeous car.
Pretty good buy for GTO. GTOs normally hold their value.
I will say this. and this is something that Ben will know because I talked to him when I had my Charger and when I had my Camaro. Brendan will know, and you might remember when people would ask me like, "Oh, what do you want to like? How do you want to build your car?" I'd be like, "I want to make it like the old school muscle cars." And one of the things that no matter how hard you try, I think it's just the fact that it's carbureted. The cam noise and the way the entire car kind of flexes as the cam chops, and it's got that like meaty but kind of hollow sounding rumble to it. I don't know what it is about old muscle cars, but that GTO
Because they're bad is mainly what it is.
Well, it's good though because
it's good, but like it's actually because like the reason they sound so different is because the cylinder heads on those motors are so inefficient. Like it's actually bad.
Sitting behind our Radford booth, and there was somebody walking up, and I'm like, Andre, you're gonna have to take this. And I just turned. I walked behind our little display. No, I literally stood there and watched it just chop and idle, and I was like,
it sounded awesome.
Oh.
Also, 455 Pontiacs sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
1970 Challenger RT 440 6-pack 4-speed car.
Is this the Moulin Rouge or is this the red one?
This was the red one, I believe.
Okay,
Sold for 110.
That's a deal.
I think that's a pretty good deal.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. When we were growing up, because for the listener, there's only a couple years between us, but like when we were growing up,
like only 50, yeah.
Yeah. My dad would have auctions on when I was a kid, when I was 13, 14, 15, whatever.
Right.
Anything. It seemed like. I remember it, that anything that was 427, 440, 428, with a 4-speed manual that was numbers matching, was minimum 150, and they were creeping into the 200s. Like, I remember a time where that was the case, and maybe I'm just wrong, but...
You're not entirely wrong.
440 numbers matching Challenger.
This was not a numbers matching car. It has been restored. And the other thing is 440 cars have kind of died down.
But see, that's what I don't understand why. Because like the 427 Corvettes were still
popping. I've got a whole list of Corvettes that we'll go through in a bit.
I don't know why it's that large, honestly. You should have a New Balance.
So, New Balances are comfortable. Don't hate.
Do you have a pair?
Well, no, I don't, but I should.
Let's say you have a white Z28 and you can get out and tell everybody why yours is special because somebody bought it on the 4th hour of the second workday when it was being manufactured, and that's how
exactly. Glad you know. No, 440 cars are kind of dipping down, and 426 Hemi cars are constantly going up. And it's kind of because people realize that you can just pull a 440 out of a motorhome and stick it in Challenger, and it drives the exact same as a factory 440 car. Like, they put 440s in everything. They only put Hemis in the cool cars. So, like, 440s used to be this grand thing, and then everyone was like, oh, you can rebuild one of these out of, like, a slant 6 Challenger, and it'd be just as cool. So this is a really nice car, but it's not all original. It's been restored. I don't even think it was a factory 4-speed car.
Oh, well, then that makes sense.
But, I mean, super cool. Super cool car nonetheless. Good to know that Mopars still hold their value. Let's see here. 65 Shelby GT350 289 4-speed. This was... let's see. This was... I'm trying to pull it up right here. This was the highest seller of the whole event.
Yeah.
So this was the white car, blue stripes.
Stunning.
Sold for $522,500.
By the way, arguably, objectively, the prettiest car there.
It's pretty close.
So I was videoing when it sold because I was like, this is the highest seller. I want to be able to like video. I thought
It originally sold for like $475 or something, but after the weekend, Mecum goes onto their website and adds all of the sales, of the fees that they have to pay to Mecum.
It's sold for $485. Gotcha.
Right. So, but I think the final amount that the customer paid was $522,500, which is nuts.
Speaking of Shelby's,
yes.
I didn't see it in the consignment list, but then when I was there and I saw it, my favorite car at that entire auction, and one of the coolest cars I've seen, period, was that unrestored
The green one.
GT50. That car had so much charm when I'm standing there and you see it, and there's some fiberglass that's been chipped, and there's some paint that's missing, and I'm like, this car, like, guys, I know this sounds stupid. This paint, this interior was like Carroll Shelby touched it. And it wasn't like, oh, he built this car with his Shelby crew. It was that exact paint hadn't been refinished. Like, it is how Carroll Shelby
So the car was mechanically restored.
Right, mechanically was. But cosmetically, interior and exterior, it was original.
Right. So it still had the original 289 and 4-speed in it, which is cool. Both had been rebuilt, resealed, all that stuff. The car is ivy green, which is super cool because special edition cars... Right, because special edition cars in the non-traditional colors are super cool. So, gorgeous car, 289, 4-speed, 44,000 original miles on it.
It's crazy.
And it sold for $181,000.
That's it?
It sold for way less than the white and blue car. Way less.
And see, if it's me, you want the one with less miles, you want the one with the all-original... The only thing about the white one I liked is it had the FIA side pipe that was gnarly.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That.
Well, to be fair, the white one had less miles.
Oh,
it did. And to be fair, it was all the original metal. It was the matching numbers motor, matching numbers transmission. It was a factory side exit exhaust. What's up?
Wasn't the green one all numbers matching and original? It was just that the mechanic had been the mechanicals had been restored, but it was the original motor.
Right. The white car was unrestored.
It was?
It was like 90% unrestored. Like
that car looked restored. Like when I was walking around it, it looked as if it was a fresh restoration. So that
it looked fantastic. So that's why that car sold for so much. I had to look into it afterwards, but I was like, oh, it's actually because...
I was looking, the previous one that sold was at Sotheby's, and it sold for $640 or something.
Yeah.
So I actually thought this was lower than what it should have gone.
Yeah, that always surprised me when I was younger, because I always assumed, like, oh, GT500s are way more money than GT350s. And it's like, no, they're really not, because the GT350s were the race cars. That was the original Shelby car. And then, you know, because Americans are dumb, they were like, 289, why would you build a race car with a tiny motor in it? And then they put big blocks in it, and they actually drive way worse.
Ruined it. Yeah.
Ruined it. Terrible.
Speaking of Americans, Ben, probably my third favorite car there was that fuel-injected Corvette that I think you should talk about for the people so that they understand why it was so special, because that color combination... Which... The silvery blue one with this blue interior that was the C1 Corvette fuel-injected with the factory hardtop.
Oh, the silvery blue one. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to scroll here and find it real quick.
With the heat extractors in the hood, it was just
Yep. The hardtop car? It was a hardtop car. Perfect. All right, I got it right here. So this is a 58 Corvette, which is kind of a weird in-between year for me. Because you get the good nose, but the medium rear on it. Super cool. 3,000 miles since restored. Matching numbers drivetrain. And the super cool thing about this was it is a factory fuel injection car. So it was a pretty rare option. It was a pretty expensive option. Most people think of fuel injection as something that came about in like the 80s and 90s, and that's not true. Fuel injection has been around since 1955 in the Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing for you nerds. But fuel injection was a factory option on Corvettes, actually, of all time periods, except for some weird... Actually, I think except for the early C3 Corvettes, you couldn't get fuel injection on them. So this is a beautiful car. This is a silvery blue color over a blue interior, 4-speed car, fuel injected motor. Really just beautiful car. And it did not sell, bid to $100,000.
How much would that normally sell for?
Since it's restored, it's probably 120, 130. It wasn't probably super far off.
Okay.
You know, it depends on... Honestly, the thing with auctions is it depends on who was in the room that day.
Course. Yeah.
You know, because there was also a 59 convertible soft top car, not a hard top car.
Right.
Fuel injected, 283, 4-speed car, same thing. But it was red with black interior, sold for $99. So it just depends on who was in the room that day. Maybe someone really wanted a red Corvette. That makes sense.
Other Corvettes. That white 427 with the chocolate brown interior. Oh.
Jeez.
That car.
So this car, if I'm looking at it correct, had the black stripe on the hood. Thing of the same car. All right, so we're looking at a 67 Corvette Coupe. And it is a multi-time Top Flight Award winner, which means it is basically restored to perfect factory condition. I mean, we're talking the screws that you used are period correct levels of attention to detail. 427, 435 horsepower, 4-speed manual. It is ermine white with a saddle interior. Beautiful car. Odometer reads 35,000 miles. Not sure if that's since restoration or since new. I'm going to assume since it's a Corvette, it's been taken apart 1,000 times. It did not sell, sadly. Bid to $300,000. Crazy amounts of money for Corvettes this weekend.
Racing the hell out of the C2 427 car on Forza 2, maybe? Like
that sounds about right.
That I remember that being when you unlocked that car and you could race it, that just in the E-Class or whatever it was in, just romped on everything.
Did I send you the vet that came into the shop like 2 days ago?
No. Ben, did you pre-order Forza Motorsport 8?
No, I don't have an Xbox. That'll work.
That's right.
Remember, I'm an old man, Nick. I'm stuck in 2015 or whenever this came out.
Me, Sam, and BJ Zacharias racing around Le Mans without you, Ben.
Have a good time. So, wait, did I not send you the black Corvette? I didn't send you pictures of the black Corvette?
Oh, no, you did. I didn't. I don't know. You did.
Okay. We had a 64 Corvette come in the shop. It's going to be really cool. We're going to paint it a silvery blue color. 4 GTs, still worth an abundance of money. However, not as much money as I think they should be worth.
No, I think they're coming back down to where they deserve to be.
Jesus Christ. 06 4 GT black with 8,600 miles. Bid to 325, did not sell. 05 4 GT red, 3-option car, because there were only 4 options on a 4 GT. 3,500 miles, sold for $340,000. This is so weird to me that the new 4 GTs are worth $1 million, million plus, but these aren't. That just surprises me.
GTs are...
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, these should be worth... I don't know about more. I don't know about more than the new ones, but they should be worth a heck of a lot more
and for
than
the
they
people
are.
Who are listening, who are like, well, the new 4 GT is all carbon fiber, and they won Le Mans with it in World Endurance, and it has all this aero, and it has blah, 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 blah.
It's got a supercharger and a stick.
On top of that, Ford didn't beat Ferrari with a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder. They beat them with a V8. And so a 4 GT V8 is not... That's like... Guys, for half the people who are listening who only know about the 4 GT because of Ford v Ferrari,
Great movie, by the way.
Go rewatch the movie. And what... The car was great, but it wasn't fast enough or stable enough. Why? Oh, didn't have a big enough V8. And so...
Power fixes everything.
Speed and power. Jeremy Clarkson. So...
It's a wise man.
Yeah, I mean, I would never... If you told me you could have a 4 GT or you could have a 4 GT, I would say, I'll have a 4 GT. But more specifically, I'll have the one with the V8. Oh, and on top of that, I'll buy one for me and 2 for my friends. And we can all just go mob around the track in 4 GTs, and you can have your one EcoBoost.
Yep. So, I think those are... I don't think those cars are ever going to dip. I think those are only going to go up in value. So I think that red one was a good buy. Mr. Patty, there was a 2018 GT2 RS, black over black. Very pretty car. Ooh. Sold for $365.
Black over black and red.
Yes. Very pretty car. Nick, there was a McLaren there. Well, there were 2 technically, but there was a cool one there.
What was this? Was there an MP4? Was that the other?
There was an MP4 there that sold for like $70,000 or something.
I just really want to talk back to Jensen Interceptor sold for 17.
Oh, dude. Okay, I was going to save that one for last. We'll get to that. There was a Speedtail. Which is pretty neat, mainly because you can't buy them in this country.
I was gonna say, you know what? I didn't realize that you couldn't drive them here.
Yeah.
And so the product specialist at Dodge was telling one of the girls that worked up at like the front desk, and I was like sitting there like, what the hell is he talking about? And then when he was explaining it, I was like, that makes sense. But then I was like, so why the hell would you buy one?
Because that car's here on show and display. You can buy that car and drive it around. Show and display cars you can drive around.
Why would you buy a McLaren?
Because it's a Speedtail. You sit in the middle, and it's like one of the prettiest cars ever made.
No,
it's
not.
freaking rad.
I'm gonna be honest. The front end.
Oh, the front end's so cool. It's so good. People are allowed to have different opinions, Nick. It's okay.
Yes,
it is allowed.
I'm happy that I dislike it and I got to see it.
It is pretty cool. So that was bid to $2 million and didn't sell, which doesn't surprise me at all.
The dude that owned it sat in the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if McLaren thought this one through.
Probably not.
I don't think it's possible to fit two normal-sized adults in either of the other seats if there's someone who's a regular-sized adult driving it.
No, the Europeans, they're not regular-sized people.
Yes, but it's here, Ben. It's in the U.S.
Small. Yes, but it's not supposed to be. So,
the Brits didn't sell it here, not because of technical regulations. They're like, no, fat people.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. There was a 1979 Lincoln Continental Batmobile replica, which I was stoked about. I think that's so cool.
Stupid.
Sold for $140,000. If you've got millions of dollars, that's a great way to spend $140,000.
If you got millions of dollars, buy the original.
There's only one.
Right, so buy it.
Well, I'm assuming a different millionaire has it. What if he doesn't want to get rid of it?
Then offer him more money. You're a millionaire.
But what if he wants more millions than you have? It's
then
140.
You can't get the Batmobile.
Then buy this one. That's the point. You're misunderstanding the point of replicas.
I can't have a Porsche. I'm not gonna go buy one of those VW Beetle 917 body kits because I can't.
No, because those are horrible. This is pretty good. You should buy this. Also, this is a replica of a fake car.
Right. So it's pretty good.
917's a real car.
So it's a replica of a fake car, but it's also based on the car that JFK was killed in. Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's an open top, so make sure to enjoy it.
Also, it's based on the car that the real Batmobile is based off of.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you can enjoy an open top car like Kennedy did, and also it's a fake car.
I like convertibles. Convertibles are great. $140,000. Goodbye for whoever bought that. And there was a 1974 Jensen Interceptor 3 that sold for $17,000 because no one in this country knows what it is.
Exactly.
It's so good. That might have been the best buy of the whole weekend. Real quick, Corvettes.
That clean silver 996. That sold for $20,000. That was a manual, low mileage.
That was a pretty good buy, probably. Yeah, that's pretty good. Corvettes. Corvettes are good investments, apparently, because they're all worth stupid money.
Banger to Camaro.
As long as you have an old one or a brand new one. Anything in between, not worth anything. So C1s, the highest C1 sold for $346,500. The lowest C1 sold for $130,000. C2s, we had everything from $300 to $130,000. I think there were a couple like Project Rusty barn find things that were just going to be parts cars that sold for less than that. C2s, solid investments. Now is the time to buy a C3 Corvette because the most expensive C3 sold for $66,000. And you could buy C3s all day long at this auction for down in the 30s and even down in the 20s. You're getting into like the later ones, the 80s ones, and those are horrible and you don't want to buy one of those. But C3s, good investments. The thing with C4s, I don't know that C4s will ever be worth money. ZR1s will, but I don't know that a normal C4 will ever be worth money.
This is totally random, but I was already looking up digital dashes for Broncos and XJs. Because I am absolutely getting into my 90s vehicle, turning it on and having the tack and the speedo do the analog. Yeah.
If you want that, you could buy a C4. But I mean...
I could, but why? Why would I?
Because they're cool. Also the smallest Corvette ever made.
Are they actually?
They actually are. I didn't realize that.
This morning, there was a yellow C4, like a 91.
Good.
I just sat there and I'm sitting in a Hellcat jailbreak and I'm like, I want the C4.
So you're like, I want this crappy piece of fiberglass.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
I would be like Ben.
my car's not made of fiberglass.
Some of it is.
It actually no, none of it is.
So it's just plastic?
It's plastic, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not fiberglass. They're very different. Corvette people get offended if you call them plastic. They're not. Those are fiberglass. My car's plastic. No, but C4 is like the nicest ZR1 ever sold for 33 grand. That's a stupid amount of car for 33 grand.
Great deal.
That's an awesome amount of car. And then normal C4 coupes, even manuals, were down in like 11, 12, 15 grand.
Ben, time to buy one. Drop your motor in it.
I really want to buy one.
C4.
I've looked into it. It's not a bad idea.
Let's go to Redwood. Let's do it.
I'll do it. C5s are still worth no money because they're C5s.
But they're even better.
They're really such a good car. It's so much car. There was a 98 coupe that sold for $16,500, and there was a 2000 coupe that was bid to $20,000. That was the most expensive one. A Z06 sold for $18,500. That's a stupid amount of car for $18,500. If you want a fun weekend car, $18,500 is a stupid amount of money. Or, like, stupid good money for a Z06, I should say.
Ben's just like, it's stupid, man. It's so stupid. It's stupid money.
It's all stupid.
Stupid.
C6s, for some reason, are not worth as much money as I thought. 08 Z06, bid to $47,000, didn't sell. Low mileage car, kind of understandable. 05 supercharged Callaway convertible, made 650 horsepower, sold for 35 grand. That's a lot of car for 35 grand.
Anything with Callaway on it normally doesn't sell for under 50.
I assumed it'd be worth way more money. A 2010 Grand Sport convertible sold for 29. Goodbye, stick car. C7s, if you have a ZR1, stupid amounts of money.
Dude, that black one.
There was a ZR1 convertible in orange that was bid to 150, didn't sell, and a ZR1 coupe that was bid to 130, didn't sell. That was the black car. But like a 2015 Z06 convertible sold for 66 grand. Those cars they've gone down in value, but they've kind of hit like the 60 grand mark and haven't really gone anywhere. So that might be a solid investment. If you don't want to buy an old Corvette, buying a low mileage Z06 might be a solid investment.
Also, we're not giving financial advice. But buy a C3 Corvette. They're not worth anything at the moment. C8 Corvettes. C8 Corvettes are worth stupid amounts of money for absolutely no reason other than the fact that you can't buy them. There were several 2023 Z06s that sold for $250, $215, $203, $175, and one was bid to $150. Stupid amount, simply because you can't buy them. It is a new car. You can order one. They do exist. Fundamentally, supply side issues.
Yeah, this is simply I can't get an allocation for a year. I want one now. I'll go buy one now.
Well, to be fair, Ben, most of the people buying them are about to die, so they can't really wait.
This is true. They might not have the time. There were some normal Stingrays. 20 coupe sold for 105, and then there was another 20 coupe that sold for 67 grand.
Outlandishly stupid how much they sell for the
it's ridiculous.
Like,
to be fair though, the dude that bought the 2020 coupe for 67 grand, that car had like 5,000 miles on it and was a 2LT. That was a good buy.
Yeah,
that dude had a good buy. But yeah, Corvettes were one of the cars of the show, especially C1s and C2s. They were selling for stupid money. Nick, Patty, any more comments about Mecum? Are you going to Mecum Scottsdale, considering you live in Arizona? That sucks. That's the good one.
Because for legal reasons, I cannot divulge.
Okay, good to know.
Though, which is kind of cool. I'm glad you get to say that. I have information that I cannot share with the general public.
He actually means it this time. It's not just he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, we're going to move on to our traditional automotive news. I've got a few things that I'm going to run through real quick before we can get to the new fancy Porsche thing that Nick wants to talk about.
Whoa.
Am I wrong?
I mean...
Okay.
What is there to say other than it's going to be the car of the year?
So... the Ferrari 812 successor has been seen again out testing.
We're not talking about Ferraris?
Yes! Oh my god, go away. So 812 successor has been spotted once again. It's in a modified Roma body, so it looks incredibly pretty. Based on the engine note from the videos we've seen, it's obviously a V12, but presumably it's based on a scalable kind of platform that they're going to share across several things, so can accommodate different wheelbases, rear or all-wheel drive, V8 or V12 compatible with hybrid. So I'm assuming it's going to be kind of like the Puro Sangue, in which they launch it with a V12 and then they'll go back and put a V8 hybrid in it. So I presume that it'll launch with a V12 rear-wheel drive based off the 812 motor, or the 812 superfast motor, so it'll make like 900 naturally aspirated horsepower, something stupid, because I think they were up to 840.
Cool, whatever.
So I'm assuming they're going to launch in a V12, and then they'll have like a base that's the like 296 motor, the twin turbo 6, and then they'll have like a V8 and a V8 hybrid all-wheel drive in there as well. Should arrive as a 2025 model, which means we should see it revealed soon. End of this year, beginning of next year. Some news that's been floating around: Alfa Romeo is set to release an all-electric 4C successor by 2030. I'm kind of upset by this. I do like the 4C. I think it's incredibly pretty. There's 2 or 3 in Bernie that drive around, and I get to see them. There's one that's the red with a black top and gold wheels on it. Yep. Pretty minty. However, I think it's kind of okay. The charm of the 4C was never the motor. It's not that attractive of a motor. Like, it's cool, and it makes good noises. I mean, if you like the sound of a Dodge Dart, yes, it sounds cool. But, like, the purpose of the 4C was never the motor. The main attraction isn't the motor. It was always the chassis and the looks and the driving of it. So maybe an all-electric one won't suck. And as long as they don't call it a 4C, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll just be their entry-level sports car. Is going to be
4CE. That would be cool.
Yeah, call it the 4E or something like that. That'll be fine. But that's coming by 2030, supposedly, so we'll see that in 9 years.
Yeah, we won't even remember that we talked about it by the time it comes out.
Yeah. However, speaking of Corvettes, Corvette ZR1 has been spotted, or what we think is the ZR1. It was spotted at a gas station in Colorado.
Real quick. I'm waiting for the ZR1 to drop, and Ford and Porsche are having their squabble. GTD, GT3RS, no, GTD, GT3RS. And then Porsche with what we're going to talk about. And then Chevy's just going to be like, with the ZR1, and it's going to make like 1,000 horsepower. And then I'm waiting for Porsche to be like, here's another. Yeah. We're just always developing something.
And then Ford's like, yeah, we're going to go make EcoBoosts. We'll be over here. We only had the one. We had the one in us. That was it.
Enough squabbling. Here's the ZR1 with twin turbskis. And then Porsche's just going to be like, here's the GT2 RS. Oh.
Yeah. So ZR1 spotted at a gas station in Colorado, which is pretty cool. We got a pretty in-depth video on it.
Be right back. I'm going to Colorado.
So
honestly,
rumors...
I might see it. It might be coming down this way.
Could be. So rumors are that the video that was released was actually kind of an inside job kind of thing, because the video was actually like...
Okay, always? I mean, like, whenever this stuff is leaked, like, oh, look, undercut, it's mostly like...
Like, the video was shot, like, really well, and he got to walk around it a lot, so everyone thinks it's kind of an inside thing. Supposedly, it's going to be a twin-turbo version of the LT6, which is the 5.5-liter flat-plane crank Z06 motor.
That should make easily 1,000, right?
I don't know, because a stock Z06 is making 650.
Oh, 650. Okay.
650, but you have to remember, flat-plane crank motors don't take boost super well.
Do they not?
Well, it's usually because a flat-plane crank motor is like a high RPM, high compression ratio. Like, they're designed to be naturally aspirated. So twin turboing it should make
naturally. Let's go against the intended purpose of the motor.
Well, it's kind of one of those things, if you remember the GT350, like the new one, which had the flat plane crank 5.2, and then the GT500, which also has a 5.2, but it's a cross plane crank because the flat plane cranks didn't work. So assuming that Chevy can make it work, that'd be awesome. It sounded like a flat plane crank in the video. And the comments on the video were like, oh, you can't tell if it sounds twin turboed or not. It definitely sounded twin turboed to me. If you've heard twin turbo V8s before, the exhaust note is different, even though it basically like idled out of the parking lot and drove away. You didn't really hear him get on it or anything. It sounded twin turbo to me. The note is slightly different. So super cool. It'll probably be called the LT7 or something like that.
So realistically, we should assume what, 800s for horsepower?
I would assume 800 for horsepower. Because it's either going to be twin turbo. That's what we do know. So it's either going to be based off the LT6, which is the 5.5 liter, or it'll be based off the Stingray motor, which is a 6.2 liter. So I would say either way, though, we should see 800 horsepower, regardless, out of a ZR1.
So well, and then it's going to come down to how much does Chevy do with the aerodynamics? Because really, the only reason I'm interested in any of these cars is because the most fascinating thing in the automotive landscape is the kind of ZR1, GT3RS, GTD. None of them are supercars, but they're all track toys.
Right.
They're sports cars that are taken to the extreme.
Right.
They're not Huracans, 488s.
That is what I do like about this weird kind of genre of car that we have at the moment. Is it's like, yeah, a Corvette can start at 60 grand. In a Mustang, you can go buy a new Mustang for 45 grand, and you can buy a base Carrera for 100. But it's like, you could also buy a Mustang for $300,000, and you could also spend that same money on a GT3 RS, and I'm assuming the ZR1 will be... I mean, a Z06 starts at 115, so I'd assume a ZR1's going to start... I'd assume that, like, MSRP on a ZR1 will be, like, 185 or something, which means you'll never see one below 210 in a dealership. But supposedly, twin-turbo, rear-wheel drive, and then... kind of since the start of the C8, there's been rumors of they're going to build something called a Zora. So if you're unfamiliar, a gentleman named Zora is known as the father of the Corvette. And basically for as long as he was alive, he was trying to convince Chevy to make the Corvette mid-engined. So supposedly they're going to build a special edition called a Zora. I predict the Zora is going to be a ZR1 mashed with an E-Ray. So we're going to get twin-turbo rear-wheel drive with a hybrid electric front axle on that car, and it should be like 1,100 horsepower.
Apparently, Chevy had a demo with the E-Ray up in Colorado.
Yes.
And let's just say the hybrid motors never worked. So in the demo, the hybrid motors were failing. The electric motors
doesn't totally surprise me.
And so it was only rear-wheel drive with the 500 horsepower, whatever, 600 horsepower that it makes naturally aspirated.
I was about to say, because
these are the cars that Chevy brought out, multiple of them. And on top of that, they were all consistently getting punctures on the tires. Like every single car there had multiple punctures throughout the couple days.
Strange.
So
I'm assuming they're going to fix all that because, like, on press launches, sometimes cars just have problems.
Yes, but just saying.
It still sucks. But that is my current prediction, is that the Zora is going to be an all-wheel drive version of the ZR1 and should be some crazy track monster. Mr. Patty, we've made it. We're here. Currently happening as we speak is something called Rennsport 7. If you're unfamiliar, Rennsport just means racing sport. That's what it translates to in English. And it is the biggest Porsche festival in the world. It's held in California. And it's basically a giant celebration of Porsche race cars is what it is.
I don't want to say this on the podcast, but I have a
phrase
to describe it perfectly.
Okay. Please don't say it. So Rennsport 7 is currently happening.
It's a big old Porsche orgy. It's just people from all parts of the world who all get off on Porsches, looking at Porsches in a Porsche place in California with Porsche drivers and Porsche and Porsche and Porsche, Porsche. Oh, I got that.
That pretty much sums up Rennsport, yeah. And then Porsche decided it's going to give itself a little birthday present. And it came out with something called the GT3R RS, which is super fascinating.
Well, yes, technically.
Well, okay, yes. I was worried if you were going to bother me about it. So technically it's called the GT3R Rennsport. If you don't know, the GT3 RS, the normal, now peasant car, RS stands for Rennsport. So calling this a GT3R Rennsport, it's a GT3R RS. So it's based on the GT3R race car, the current WEC, or I guess IMSA spec. WEC doesn't run them yet. The current IMSA spec GT3 car.
Which, rewind, for people listening, no, we don't mean it was based on the GT3.
No, the GT3R, the race car.
Also, it's not built like a race car. It
is a race car.
Started with the race car, and then we're like,
what if we just take this rule book and put it over there.
Yeah, like they looked at the rule book and they're like,
so the only panel that it shares with the GT3R is the roof and the doors. So based on the GT3R, has a 4.2-liter flat six. However, it makes more power than standard GT3R.
It makes more power than any flat six that is naturally aspirated, I believe, that Porsche's released.
It is the most powerful naturally aspirated flat six ever built. 4.2-liter flat six, 94-inch RPM, 615 horsepower.
Guys.
For those of you wondering...
Like, do you remember how much people shit themselves when it's like, the GT3RS, it's 9,000 RPM? Guys, we're at 9,400 RPM.
Yes, I'm very curious what the service intervals are on this, because on the GT3Rs...
Every day. It's each day. It's every 24 hours, get it service.
Because on a GT3 Cup car, not a GT3R, a GT3 Cup car, I know that the car has to be torn down, and the whole car has to be torn down and rebuilt every 60 hours, every 60 track hours.
Right.
So I'm assuming this is a bit tighter than that, but none of these will ever get driven 60 track hours.
Which is a crying shame.
It's a crying shame. We'll get to that in a bit. 615 horsepower. For those of you that are curious and wondering if that's impressive or not, and you're like, 615 horsepower, cool, that's a stock C8 Z06. That's 2.4 horsepower per cubic inch, which, by the way, would, if you want to equate that to American, a Challenger 396, standard 6.4-liter Challenger, would need to make 950 naturally aspirated horsepower to make as much horsepower per cubic inch as this car does. So if you're wondering if it's impressive, it's stupid impressive. 615 horsepower, weighs 2,733 pounds.
Bro, what? It weighs 100 pounds heavier than the Turbo Cup, and it makes over 600 horsepower.
Stupid. It doesn't have side mirrors, which is cool. It's got cameras, which is fun because you can't do that on a normal race car. And it is $1,046,000
worth every stinking penny.
And they're only making 77 of them.
Dude, I am stoked.
It's so cool.
The heritage liveries that some guys will be ordering. I want to get
I hope
the livery with the purple and the green. I want a pink pig. I want the Valiant. I want the what's the black 935 with like the pink and the orange up the...
Oh, I'm gonna find it.
I can't believe I don't know the name of it.
You nerd out on Porsches for a second. I'll find this.
But the amount of heritage things that they're going to be able to do, I want to see some of these in traditional 964 Cup liveries. Like,
I hope that I hope that Porsche doesn't let anyone make them the Interscope 935.
Yes, thank you.
I hope that Porsche doesn't let any two cars leave the factory in the same livery.
I agree. One of these in the white and pink 935 livery with all the Japanese lettering all over it.
I think that'd be super cool. So Interscope livery. Obviously, this one was launched in a Brumos style livery.
Martini, I think. No.
No, I think it was more Brumos than it was.
I think you're patently wrong. No, that's definitely more Martini. Because it's got the dark blue, medium blue, red.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see the dark blue. Sorry. Stand corrected. I shouldn't have argued with Nick about Porsche liveries. But anyway, for starters, we haven't even touched on how this car looks.
It is so
sexy. The coolest looking thing on the planet.
Dude, the complete side silhouette of it is menacing. And then on top of that, okay, I'm just going to say it. I think that car could be sub 6 minutes at the Nürburgring. Maybe not, actually. I think that car could be... No, but realistically, I think it'd be 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, quite possible.
Because it's going to have more aero than the GT3 RS. It has more horsepower by over 100 than the GT3 RS. It's going to have slicks on it. If that thing runs around the Nordschleife, that thing... I wonder what the GT3Rs run. I
have no idea. Okay, so Nick,
yes.
I have a question for you here, which I kind of already know the answer to.
You probably don't.
No, I do. I'm going to give you... okay, we'll start here. So, we have this, the GT3R Rennsport, the new car.
Yes.
And then we have the reimagined 935 from 2019 based on a GT2 RS.
Yes.
Which one are we taking?
That is potentially the hardest question you've asked me on this entire podcast.
I figured it'd be a good one.
So, this is going to be a non-answer.
That's good.
That's
helpful.
Here's the thing. I would take the 935. Because...
The 2019.
Yeah, because it's a 935. Because you get turbo noises in a 935. Because you get the completely bespoke bodywork like the 935. The sole, and I quite mean the sole reason I wouldn't, is I want a 9,400 RPM flat six that's
it's like, no, all these things, but
the
9,400 RPM.
Is somebody would be like, well, why wouldn't you just take the motor out of it and put it in the 935? It's like, because in a 935 you have to have turbos. You just have to. But like, I don't want I want the naturally aspirated motor.
Okay. Well, in that case,
how about
you? I'm probably. I'll be honest. It is a tough one, isn't it? It's really tough because they're very different cars, and I'm assuming that this car would destroy the 935
without a doubt.
Because the 935 doesn't make any more power than a GT2 RS Club
and
Sport.
It doesn't make any more aero.
Right. It's just. No offense to Porsche. It's just a rebody GT3 RS Club Sport. Incredibly pretty. One of the prettiest cars.
I wonder what the top speed is for the 935.
The reimagined one?
Yeah.
I'm assuming whatever a GT2 RS Club Sport is, probably like
it's
190.
Oh. 211.
Jesus Christ. I'll tell you what.
All right.
The GT3R Rennsport ain't.
That answers my question. I'll take the GT2 or the 935 because I could go 200 miles an hour on the Mulsanne at Le Mans in a Porsche.
Okay. So, reimagined 935, Singer DLS Turbo.
Reimagined 935.
Okay. Even though you can't drive the reimagined 935 on the street.
Yep.
Okay. Reimagined 935, 935.
Oh, 935.
The original. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I just want to kill me. I wanted to try.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, just so that we get our pecking order correct, Singer DLS Turbo, GT3R Rennsport. What are we picking?
Oh, GT3R Rennsport. And I choose it. Yeah, I mean, I would take both 935s, then the GT3R Rennsport, and then anything else in terms of the modern kind of...
Well, Mr. Patty, in that case... Congratulations, you have just inherited $3 million, and you get to buy a 935 reimagined and a GT3R Rennsport. You have to livery both. They cannot be in the same livery. What livery are you putting on both?
Okay, so for the 935,
okay,
I'm doing, and I don't know the team name, but the Japanese team that ran the pink and the white one. Saw that car at Monterey Historics in 2013. That thing is, so good.
So good. Okay.
For the GT3R Rennsport. I have two.
Okay, and they are?
A full FAF livery, the current one with the black.
That'd be good.
Or my dad's Cup car livery when it was Frank Stifler's, which is the Infineon 2002 Porsche Super Cup livery. It's silver, gray. Look it up. Look up 2002 Super Cup, Porsche Super Cup. And our viewers
looking
can
at
do this too.
2002 Porsche Super Cup.
Images.
Okay.
It is the all-silver Infineon car. There's multiple results. You'll see it multiple times.
Okay. Can I get more details other than silver?
So
it's the silver one with the Mobile One logo on the front.
Yep.
And the DHL logo.
Yep.
Sick. That's cool.
Throw that livery on there.
Okay.
Same thing to you, though. So you have a 935 and you have a GT3R Rennsport. Which liveries? And they can't be the same.
GT3R Rennsport is getting the Apple Computers livery.
Why wouldn't you do that on the 935?
Because the wing on the GT3R Rennsport would look better on the Apple Computers livery. Because if you look at the Apple Computers livery, it's got the rainbow stripe that goes across the whole wing.
Okay.
And it'd look better. Personally. And then on the 935 Reimagined...
Also, I have to change my answer when you're done.
Okay.
While you think, I would change my 935 livery, and I would do the Paul Newman livery. The Hawaiian Tropic red 935 livery.
Yeah,
I don't know, Interscope's badass too, so...
Interscope's really good.
There's also the one that won Le Mans, 78 or 79, that was the something brothers, not Whittington. What is it? 1979, 935.
I'm gonna go with, on my 935 Reimagined, I'm gonna go with the Valent Kramer, the teal with the pink, red, and yellow stripes. I think that would look rad.
I was thinking of the Numero Reserve one that's white.
Also, I have a picture of a new 935 in that livery.
Oh, and?
It looks fantastic.
Oh, I bet.
They didn't do the full livery, it's just the color with the stripes on it, but the full livery would look better.
Now, okay, I got a much better question for you.
Ooh, wait, okay, real quick. 935 Reimagined, I want it in the Jägermeister livery. Anyway, carry on. I love that livery.
935 Reimagined or the Kramer built 935 that's based on the 997 GT3 Cup car.
Is it twin turboed, that Kramer car? I'm gonna go 935 Reimagined. I think that's one of the
Kramer car.
I think that's one of the best looking cars that's come out in a long time. I think the tail of the 935 Reimagined is where it's at. I think it looks so sick. Well, Mr. Patty, any more thoughts, questions, comments, concerns regarding the GT3R RS?
No, other than guys, just make sure to keep watching Rennsport because they're live streaming on Motor Trend, and yeah.
That should be a good time. Well, that's going to do it from us here at episode 79 of The Clutch Dump. Like and accept at the top of the show. Make sure you go follow us on the socials at The Clutch Dump. Follow us on all podcasting platforms at The Clutch Dump. Make sure you follow, subscribe, leave a rating and a review if you can. It helps us grow and find a bigger audience. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for staying and watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share the video. Comment down below which Porsche GT3 935 thing you want, what you saw at Mecum that looked super cool, and what you think about the possible Corvette ZR1 in the future. That's going to do it from us here. We will see you next time.